Welcome to FAR180. Today's video we're going to be discussing, has science discovered God? Is the church and science in opposition with one another? Have you been told that you can't have a science view and have a religious view? If that's what you've been told, you don't want to miss this video. Welcome to FAR180, where we connect the heart and the minds and change attitudes 180 degrees. Today we're going to be discussing, has science discovered God? This is actually going to be on several videos, the topic of science and religion, because I think it's one of the most important topics. A lot of people leave the church because they feel that science and religion are in somehow opposition to one another. And it's also perpetuated by many sources. I think either people are ignorant to the facts, which we're going to be sharing many of them here in the next few videos, or they're dishonest. But I think it's primarily that people are just ignorant of the facts, like I was. So if you felt that the church was somehow in opposition to science, then I understand how you feel, because I felt the same way. But I can tell you what I found is that they are not in opposition. As a matter of fact, the church and science are harmonious with one another. They're very complementary. So does one have to choose between religion and science? Or can you embrace both? Well, first of all, science and philosophy are rooted in Christianity. For centuries, the church has supported and funded science departments in universities around the world. For centuries. Does that sound like they're in opposition to one another? It's a fallacy. Or, as today people like to say, it's fake news that religion and science are in opposition to one another. As scientists uncover the mystery of our universe, it's this uncovering and pulling the veil back a bit to be able to see is what makes these scientists are in awe of that this could not happen by itself. And that creation in itself is the greatest miracle of all. Some of the factors that make scientists in such awe of creation are things like what it takes for life to exist on our own planet. For example, gravity, magnetic field, the Earth's mass, protective gases, the sun's distance from the Earth. A little bit closer to the sun, it burns up. A little bit farther away, it freezes. Other things like water, temperature, oxygen-rich environment. Wipe out any one of these principles and the Earth is uninhabitable. These factors, and many others, are leading some of the most brilliant minds today to use words like super intellect, supreme being, or, as Peter Kreeft from Boston College puts it, if there was a Big Bang, then ultimately there had to be a Big Bang-er. Think about it. Scientist Arthur Schawlow, professor of physics at Stanford University and winner of the Nobel Prize in physics, believed these new discoveries provide such compelling evidence for God that he puts it this way. Quote, "It seems to me that when confronted with the marvels of life and universe, one must ask why and not just how. The only possible answers are religious." He continues, "I find a need for God in the universe and in my own life." Astronomer George Greenstein, he asks this question, quote, "Is it possible that suddenly, without intending to, we have stumbled upon the scientific proof of the existence of a supreme being?" Close quote. Winning a Nobel Prize is unquestionably the highest form of recognition. And in 2002, a book was written, and it was a statistical analysis of 100 years about Nobel Prize winners in the scientific fields, such as chemistry, physics, medicine, economics, peace, and literature, for 100 years. 86% of these Nobel Prize winners, most brilliant minds in history, 86% said they believe in God. Over 65% said they were Christian. Think about it for a minute. Christianity is not trying to prop up some junior high school science teacher from small townville somewhere near you. These are the most brilliant minds in history. Scientific Nobel Prize winners. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to be a believer in God and Christianity, but many rocket scientists are believers. John Lennox, who's a renowned mathematician at Oxford University, he sums it up this way. He says, quote, "The beauty of the scientific laws reinforces my faith in an intelligent divine creator. The more I understand science, the more my faith in God is confirmed, because of my wonder at the breadth and sophistication of his design." Close quote. Peter Kreeft from Boston College puts it an interesting way. He says, quote, "Belief in God is far more rational than atheism. Logic can show that there is a God. If you look at the universe with common sense and an open mind, you will find that it's full of God's fingerprints." Close quote. He adds, "Nothing can come from nothing, yet some atheists find the existence of an infinite number of universes more rational than the existence of a creator." Close quote. He concludes it the best. He says, quote, "The conclusion that God exists does not require faith. It's atheism that requires faith. It takes faith to believe in everything coming from nothing. It only takes reason to believe in everything coming from God." I heard it said this way. If you were walking on a beach and you looked down and you saw a watch and you picked it up and there was nothing around but a watch, would you think that the watch would happen by itself, would just be created by itself? That evolution would have caused that watch to be made? For anybody to suggest that what you see around you happened by accident is laughable. St. Thomas Aquinas wrote extensively on intellect. He said, quote, "The will follows the intellect. The heart will follow the brain." If you have an open mind, you just need to examine the evidence. And, like a juror, you have the free will to accept it or deny it. So, until next time, when anybody asks you why you're a Christian, the answer is simple. Because it's true. The evidence is beyond any reasonable doubt.